Okay, so good afternoon. My name is George Porto Ferreira. I am a PhD student at the University of British Columbia in Canada. I just came from there. I arrived yesterday, so I'm still jet-lagged yet. And I'm also an environmental analyst at IBAMA, the Brazilian Institute for the Environment. And I'm now part of the Schwartz Lab, which is a lab at UBC dealing with geospatial and ecological analysis. The title for this presentation is The Relationship Between Rural Credit and Deforestation in 3 Amazonian States. And I would like to start with some background about the importance of tropical forests. Tropical forests host 50% of the world's biodiversity, 62% of global terrestrial vertebrates, and stocks 20% of the carbon in the terrestrial biosphere. Despite this importance, we have been clearing the forests since like several years. Every year, 3 to 4 million hectares are lost worldwide, and together with other land uses, this represents 22% of the global emissions of greenhouse gases. And in Brazil, maybe 4% is really legal deforestation. So most of these deforestation are illegal deforestation. In Brazil, in average, 80% of our emissions came from land use changes and agriculture. So converting forest areas to agriculture is a big deal in our emissions. And as you may know, the temperature is rising. According to IPCC, since comparing to the first half of the past century, we have risen 1.1 degrees Celsius due to human activity. So we are going to a dangerous path, and everything that can be done to mitigate climate issues is welcome, and my research is something trying to deal with or to mitigate emissions from deforestation. So the question that I'm working on is how do we reduce carbon emissions from illegal deforestation. And in my research, I will approach this in 3 different ways. The main one that will be the focus for this talk is the prevention way, by trying to answer this question: is rural credit a driver of deforestation? Just to let you know, the other 2 approaches that I'm using in this research is by intervention on ongoing deforestation. I want to build metrics to prioritize better law enforcement activities on the ground. And also, the 3rd approach is by restoration. We have to promote much more restoration to really mitigate the effects of climate change. But the focus will be of this presentation on rural credit. And so some background on this. Since 1965 in Brazil, after this law was enacted, the law 4829, we have subsidies to rural credit. So it means that we have cheap money to promote or to enhance or to improve the production or cover the costs of agriculture in Brazil. And this graph shows a comparison between the regular market rates, interest rates, comparing to the interest rates for rural credit. So, yeah, so thank you, Rodrigo. So we can notice that the interest rates for rural credit goes always much lower than the real market rates. And it means there are a lot of, this is in dollars, so it means 400 billion reais for rural credit in this last year. Comparing to the Ministry of Environment budget is really a huge difference. So, which is the ministry responsible to fight against deforestation? So, there are two papers or white papers that, or reports that came recently confirming that rural credit is somehow related to deforestation. This first paper is from the Climate Policy Initiative, and the second one is a report from Greenpeace, maybe you have heard about it, is Bancando a Extinção, is its name, that shows several cases where rural properties are getting credit and committing deforestation. One example, what I am talking about, this is one property in yellow that received $1 million in 2021 and more $5 million in 2022. And we can see here that they had 60% of forest in April 2022, and they start to do the clearing in May 2022, and in June they cleared like 30%, and now like 60% is the forests were removed. So they received credit and committed deforestation into 2021 and 2022. Another example, this is still even worse, I would say, because they received credit when they were 100% of forest. So this is the credit this property received in 2020, 2021, 2022. And the deforestation, they clear the whole area from June, or actually from February 2023 to March 20, in 1 month they cleared the whole area. And so they got the credit first, some credit here, here, and here, and a huge credit in the year that they cleared the area. And they even, among these $100,000, 75% they got after committing the deforestation. So are the Brazilian government paying this cheap money for landowners to commit deforestation? The results that this table is an ugly one, but is what I have published in the paper, but I want you to focus in these figures. I've analyzed only Rondônia, Pará, and Mato Grosso states, and from all deforestation that between August 2008 and July 2023, so 15 years, this is the total amount of deforestation. 88% occurred in properties that got loan in some point in time. The time frame for loans are 2013, 2023, so 11 years. And why there is this mismatch between 2008 and 2013 because law enforcement agencies like IBAMA can apply a fine only at least 5 years after the commitment of the environmental crime. So there is something that we call prescrição do crime, the crime prescription. There is a technical name I forgot in English. So we cannot apply fines anymore if after the 5 years the commitment of the environmental crime. So and then $4 billion or 17 billion reals were loaned to properties that committed deforestation. This is a huge money, and this is also a huge number for deforestation, even if it's spread in 15 years. If we can bring down the deforestation rate 8%, is a huge victory. So if we can avoid this deforestation from occurring, like avoiding sending the loans for rural properties that committed deforestation, will be a huge victory. But we cannot say that a deforestation can occur in a property that doesn't have forest anymore. So I filtered the data to generate these statistics for properties with at least 5.25 hectares of forests. So they have some forests to be deforested, and then to get a better comparison between these two groups. And what we find here is something interesting. Among properties with at least 5.25, and why 5.25? Because it's the minimum area mapped by PRODES system, which is the official deforestation monitoring system in Brazil. So 25 billion reals went to properties that, in general, in total. So if we now look to these numbers, we will see that properties with this filter that committed deforestation received more credit than those that did not commit deforestation. So 9% of properties received 13 billion reais, and 6% of properties received 12 billion reais. If we can avoid this deforestation, and this represents, in terms of deforested area, represents 5,000 square kilometers, or 12%, always remind this filter, looking only for properties with this filter. And more interesting, they usually commit deforestation before getting the loan. So we are awarding, I mean the Brazilian government are awarding farmers that committed illegal deforestation. We are awarding them with cheap money to, in the name of the agriculture production, or in the name of our GDP, I don't know, in the name of what? Progress, perfect, good word. Yeah, so this bag of money is to say that we are awarding them. So what I have done to reach these results, and why I'm presenting this in a FOSS4G event, because I've used R, SQLite with Spatialite, and QGIS as the visualization tool. You can find the code that I've used to produce these figures, and yeah, I will talk this later. So what I have done, using R, I downloaded these 5 tables, PRODES, CAR. They are all public data. There is no you don't need user or password is open data. And these 3 tables from the Central Bank of Brazil from a system called SICOR with data from rural credit. So the first step was to intersect these 2, of course, before that, cleaning data and removing duplicated records and all the stuff that we usually do before starting the analysis. So I intersected produce data from these 15 years with SICAR, the most recent. And after that, I reconstructed this relationship between the tables from SICAR to be able to, from data on property boundaries, identify how much deforestation and how much money, how much credit they got during these years. This is the main process. There are a lot of details that I'm not going to dive into, but you can check in the code if you want in GitHub. And one example of how it looks in QGIS and why I use it. I built this, I rebuilt this specialized database because environmental agencies or even the banks can use in a notebook like this, and this is an old one, this tool to identify the properties that committed deforestation and then avoid them because there is a rule in the rural credit manual that says that if someone gets fined for illegal deforestation, they will lose their installments, their credit. So this can be used for banks or for environmental agencies to identify who committed deforestation and got credit at the same time. So in red, we have produce data, or it means deforestation. In green, we have CAR, this is the environmental registry, land, the rural properties boundaries, and the intersection between both is in this color, brown. So we can see, and this produce actually is after 2007, so only 2008 and forward. So we can see these brown areas all committed deforestation and got some credit at the same, in this period. Yeah, just to show inside QGIS, if we rebuild the relationship between the tables, we can, using identification tool or any filtering tool, we can search for a property with the code model and identify each of the installments that they received as loan, and other information like, I think is in the other, yeah, and other information like what type of crops they are producing, if they use irrigation, or what type of credit what was the interest credit that they got, and what else? A lot of different information from the SICOR database. Yeah, so using the identification tool from the polygon of the environmental property boundary, we identify the ID from the Central Bank of Brazil to find the operation that conceded the credit for them, and then the installments, and with each date when they receive it and how much they receive it. In this case, was one installment of, I cannot see very well, but it's 120,000 reals in the year of 2019. That's it. If you have questions, I'm open. Thank you.